guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We're back here at Loki Kia in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have that one mid-size 3-row SUV that's not a Telluride, but yet has some big changes for model year 2024. It's this vehicle right here. This is your updated, changed up, refreshed Kia Sorento. This particular one is actually a new trim known as the X-Line SX, plus we have a new color called Road Rider Brown. But before we get into this all-wheel drive 3-row SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, Kia sold two cars here in the United States, the Sophia and the Sportage. And I remember going to work with my dad at his mechanic shop when I was younger, and he basically would call those cars throwaway cars because they really didn't last the test of time, especially when it came to reliability. Fast forward to the modern era, and Kia really is laying it down, vehicle after vehicle, changing people's minds and also changing the auto industry. Now, we all know the top-selling Telluride, but the Sorento is also a great-selling 3-row SUV, a little smaller than the Telluride. What's fascinating is it sits on the same exact platform as the sister brand, the Hyundai Santa Fe. So what I want to find out is the Santa Fe for model year 2024 is getting a total redesign. And if you haven't seen our first review of that, I'll leave it at the end of this one. But what I want to find out is, do you go refreshed Sorento with a new trim and a new color? Or do you go redesign Santa Fe? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Sorento X-Line SX and find out. Right off the bat, the color. It's like an in-between a silver and a gray, but yet they call it Road Rider Brown. Very interesting, the name of the color, because I don't see brown on this vehicle, but I definitely am digging the color. Up front, we have all the changes right off the bat. New headlight housing. Look at the way they extend like a wing, extend that daytime running lamp and turn signal into the front grille. You have your quadruple stack. It's like taking 4 Oreo cookies and stuffing them in your mouth. All LED lighting, headlights. The one zonk I have is, what the heck is this? What is that? Is this like a card I could pull out or something? No, it's a fake vent. That would have been perfect for a corner air curtain, just to have a little bit more airflow through the front of the vehicle, or put some extra lighting down there. Now, there are fog lamps, but maybe some extra lighting, extra fog lamps would just look better. Let me know what you think about that lower corner there. But the way it looks now, it's not really working for me. As we come across that tiger nose grille, if you look at their EVs, they're calling it tiger body. This is not an EV, so we still have the tiger nose grille. I like the way they brought the gloss black along the top. You have the gloss black appointments throughout the grille. Of course, a forward-facing camera, which is nice. And then they brought this gunmetal satin finish along the bottom edge of the tiger nose grille. Now, as we drop down, a little bit of body color, some gloss black. The rest is all going to be flat black and that titanium color. You'll notice from behind all the heat exchangers, and this is functional with our LED fog lamps. So there's our fog lamps. But like I said, on the corners, just would have been nice to have the fog lamps there rather than a fake vent. But as we rise up, hood is going to be exactly the same as the previous model year. Still looking good, simple, bold lines, nothing too over the top, and the Kia badge, nice and flush, looks great. Now, if you compare this to the new Santa Fe, which, like I said, if you haven't seen that review of the SEL trim that I did, I'll leave it at the end of this one. It's a much more squared off, boxier look. So you got to ask yourself, do you want something that has some hard edge to it, but yet still has some flow? Or do you want something that's straight cut, a box with 4 wheels? Let me know in the comment section, which front end do you like more, Santa Fe or Sorento? Now, as we come around the bend, of course, if we have a new trim, new changes, we got new wheels, 20-inch wheels. Very interesting design with these squared off openings. And then I like the way that they covered all the lug nuts with this square cover with the Kia badge. Definitely looks different going down the road. And if you compare these wheels to the Hyundai Santa Fe wheels, the Santa Fe wheels look much more tame than this. This is something that definitely looks modern and definitely is going to stand out. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tire? 255 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and we have all-wheel drive. So that means this is front-wheel drive base, but it sends power to the rear wheels. The one zonk I have is I want this to be body colored. The fender opening, it would be nice if it was body colored. So let me know down in the comment section how you feel about it being flat black. Now, as we continue down the side, they bring just a little bit of trim to kind of give some pizzazz to the side of the vehicle. Starts on the front fender, comes into the front door, and then it finishes. Very simple, tasteful. It's not meant to look like a vent, and I'm happy about that. You do have your gloss black mirror caps, LED turn signals, and we do have our 360-degree cameras underneath there. From this side, you could see the difference. This is a little smaller than the Telluride, just like the Santa Fe is a little smaller than the Palisade. Do you see where I'm going? It's still mid-size, but it's just a little smaller. Now up top, we have our raised roof rails. I like the way they match the gloss black with some flat black, just like they did on the trim. Gloss black around the window openings. And then you have full color match door handles and just a little bit of flat black along the bottom. Working our way towards the rear, one of my favorite parts of the Sorento is I really love the way they styled the quarter window. Instead of just doing a regular triangle, I like the way they brought the trim up and kind of shaped it, give it a little bit of substance for our viewing pleasure. And then as we swing it around back, my favorite part is, look at this. I could rest my head right here. The reason why is no exposed wiper. The wiper is tucked in under the long roof spoiler. I'm still on the fence. I was literally driving behind a Sorento the other day. I'm still on the fence with this split taillight design. To me, it just seems like too much. Like, how about just give me that? But I do like the way you have all LED. The turn signals are moved up here. They're not down below. And you got your brake lights. Of course, we got the X-Line badge. Just a little badge. Doesn't need to be this big, ginormous thing. And then coming across, Sorento, simply spelled out. And I like the way the badging is all flush. And then as we drop down, you're going to have gunmetal gray, the flat gunmetal gray with the flat black. I just wish they would do something with that exhaust pipe. It looks like somebody's dinghy just kind of dropping down. You know, like one of those small boats, the dinghy. I think a finished exhaust tip on there, maybe two. Even if you had it on one side, I would be happy with that. I wouldn't zonk it. But I'm definitely zonking that little dinghy there hanging down. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about performance of this Sorento. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. Underneath the hood is gonna be a similar power plant, believe it or not, compared to the Hyundai Santa Fe. So what do we got going on? You got a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline four, puts out 281 horsepower. So you actually get a little bit more horsepower than the Santa Fe. Santa Fe is 277 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. You could tow up to 3,500 pounds. Now, if you get an X Pro trim, that you could tow up to 4,000 pounds. This vehicle gets 22 mpgs in the city, 29 on the highway. It weighs 3,814 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds flat. So no surprise, same engine, same transmission. It is a surprise that this has just a tad more horsepower than the Santa Fe, but why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see the Santa Fe, this Sorento roll away. All right, guys, we are inside this new refresh 2024 Kia Sorento X-Line SX with all-wheel drive. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm on the fence. I don't want a large midsize SUV like a Telluride, a Palisade, a Subaru Ascent. I kind of like the size of this Sorento, but you're right. I'm also looking at the Santa Fe. How much is this particular one? So remember, this one is an X-Line SX, so this is not like a base trim or something. MSRP with the all-wheel drive, you're looking at $45,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I love the upgraded style. Look at the wood trim there around that Texas size belt buckle of a door handle. I am gonna zonk the gloss black around the switchgear. You can see all the dust that's just collecting there in pollen, but I do love the contrast stitching, the diagonal stitching, the stitching on the armrest, the stitching on the grab handle to close the door. The challenge is that door pocket is tight. You're only gonna be able to get 2 cheeseburgers, no fry, no apple pie, but you can get a large Coca-Cola in there to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, that wood, real wood finish. Make sure you don't get splinters if you're gonna rub your wood on the ride home. I wish the stitching matched the stitching on the door, that it was white. But it still looks good, soft touch material. They did a great job with the AC vents and how everything kind of loops around. And then guess what you're gonna get? Not one, but 2 12.3 inch screens. 12.3 inch infotainment system screen. Obviously it's got your navigation. It's got all the familiar Kia apps that you could scroll through. I mean, it's a cornucopia, a plethora of different apps and functions. I'm gonna throw it into reverse, backup camera, super clear resolution. Watch this, do a little 360 spin there, doors open. I wish it would show Steven, that would be kind of cool. I know everybody wants to see Steven. But we got our 360 trajectory, the whole 9 yards, full touchscreen. But the good news is, watch this. As you drop down, we still have real knobs for our dual climate control. I love the way it's got that TFT screen display. Almost doesn't look like a screen, does it? And then down below, I also like the way Kia does their heated and ventilated seats. 3 stages of heated seats, 3 stages of ventilated seats with that nice toggle switch. They got rid of the lid, which is good because it was kind of pointless. 2 USB-Cs, wireless charging, and a place for 4 Twinkies. You still have a shifter for that 8-speed automatic. We do have a mode selector knob, and you can lock the center diff for our all-wheel drive. 2 cup holders. Here is your key fob. It says key on it. I like the way it's got that silver there. Nice touch. Place for a couple small Twizzlers. Soft touch with the stitching. Lift it up. Look at this. Somebody didn't do this right. So this is felt lining. This is meant to not scratch anything. So first we need to put that in there like this. This is a little cargo tray. So you could put some honey roasted peanuts. I know Steven loves macadamians and cashews. He could put those in here. And then for the rest of the room, underneath this cup, you could easily put, I would say 8 Hostess cupcakes. Just make sure you don't get any of that cream. You don't bust your cream all over this interior because it's pretty nice in here. I'm very impressed with what Kia has done. And then you close it up. Seats, love the leather style material, nice soft, perforated, good bolstering, electric assist for the passenger, electric assist of course for the driver, and then check it out. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Power sunshade with your panoramic sunroof, like the one-touch operation. No hands, Mom, look at that. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the leather-wrapped steering wheel in the Sorento. All right, guys, driver's side time, the business end. Guess what? No memory seat settings for the driver or the passenger. To me, that's a zonk, especially if you let somebody borrow your Sorento. They're gonna mess up your seat settings. We have a little bit of morning sunny dew on our aluminum Sorento sill plate. I actually did that on purpose just to make it more dramatic. And then we do have a decent pedal box, aluminum brake pedal, aluminum throttle. There's film over it, that's why it looks white. It's not a white throttle pedal, it's aluminum. And then you have a nice large dead pedal. I just wish that was aluminum too. But the seat controls are easy to get to, all within fingertip reach. I'm 6 feet tall, feels good in here. It really does. Steering wheel, leather all the way around. I like the contrast stitching that they do, nice crisscross pattern, clean on the horn button. You got some toggle switches, some flat black buttons. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, which I will lower it a little bit just to show you that it moves. And then we have that full digital display, 12.3 inches. You could scroll through information in the center. I like to see that power distribution of the all-wheel drive. Plus we have, don't forget, I love those corner cameras. Really takes the blind spots away. You don't even have to worry about it anymore. So nice to have that technology. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the mid-row and third row, because I want to take you for a drive in this updated Sorento. All right, guys, mid-row time, and the fun continues even into the mid-row because the seats, just like up front, very comfortable, lots of great room. The Zonk, Kia and Hyundai need to work on their armrests. I need a little bit more real estate for a human arm. Unless you have toothpick arms, maybe this would work. Does not work for my arm. The good news is you can flip it right out of the way. Backs of the seats, you got some plastic. That's gonna be good to clean off your kids' fingerprints when they're eating powdered donuts or doing illegal drugs. In the back, you do have a little bit of room where you could slide in a couple bags of Twizzlers. And then you even have the cargo net for the stuff that you wanna keep your eyes on so somebody else doesn't take from you. 2 rear AC vents. I love the way they style them, just like the AC vents up front. We got one 12-volt back here, but the good news is on the backs of the seats, we have USB-Cs. I always thought that was so smart how Kia did that on the Telluride. They were the first one. The seats do slide, which is awesome. They also, whoa, they recline quite a bit. I'm impressed. This feels good. I'm impressed with that recline. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna move this up just to make it easier for me. Look at how we're gonna get in the third row. Watch this. You wanna see how we move the seat? Like that. Now I'm gonna do this. I didn't break my legs or my back or anything else. So this is the thing, just like on the Hyundai Santa Fe, I have plenty of headroom. My knees are too high. And even on a Telluride, that doesn't fully solve the problem. To have a passenger's knees lower, you gotta go full-size SUV. And unfortunately, Kia nor Hyundai sells a full-size SUV, but you do have USB-Cs. I got a little place for almost like a couple tacos back here from Taco Bell. And then you even got a little cup holder. Put a little drink, a little sippy cup, so they don't spill, the kids don't spill drinks all over the back of your new Sorento. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the cargo area. I wanna see how much room there is because I wanna go for a drive in this thing. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, cargo area time, very important. It's funny, I always wanna go up here to open up the lift gate on a Sorento. It's not there, it's down here. Hit the button, nice electric assist. I have the third row in the fully erect position. And what you're looking at when it comes to cargo room is 12.6 cubic feet of space with that third row fully erect. Now, as I fold down the rear seats, I'll be able to show you what's going on. It's real simple. You just pull the tether. I love that. That's all I need. I don't need electric. I don't need fancy buttons. Look at how flat that is. So now you're looking at almost 47 cubic feet of space. I'm gonna have Steven show you what I was trying to point out when I was sitting back here. You have your USB-Cs on both sides for the third row passengers. And what's nice about that is that if their phone dies, they could charge it, of course. Underneath here, you got plenty of room for at least 5 boxes of Twinkies for your next road trip. And then, of course, you have buttons on the right-hand side, the passenger side, to fold down that mid-row. You fold down the mid-row, that's gonna maximize your space. Of course, we got a 12-volt, but when that mid-row folds down, it's gonna be totally flat, and that's gonna max out our space to 75.5 cubic feet of space. Even Steven didn't believe the amount of room back here, and he got his protractor and compass out to measure it. So that is full Steven Flood certified 75.5 cubic feet of space. But I'm here to certify something else. I want to find out about the on-throttle driving experience. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this new refreshed Sorento for a spin. All right, guys, we left Loki Kia. We're in this 2024 Kia Sorento, this being an X-Line SX trim. Now, one thing that's kind of fascinating is that they give you the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. When you go into the different modes, it doesn't do anything anymore. Yeah, it shows you what mode you're in, but the gauges used to change, things used to get cool. Now they're just plain Jane. So just something to think about there. I do like having the all-wheel drive power distribution in that center display. And I do like the fact that when you go into your different modes, it does show right on the screen. So as you can see, I'm going into sport mode. That's gonna quicken up the steering, the throttle sensitivity, and how the 8-speed automatic and the 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-4 interact with one another. Seats are comfy as can be. The room in here is spectacular. And then of course, you have that extra third row for when an emergency arises. Would I want to sit back there for 500 miles? Heck no, but we're gonna go on throttle here. You ready? On throttle. Nice. Fast shifts from the 8-speed automatic. And I like the way that it was all grip and no slip. Going down the road, they do a pretty decent job of getting control of the wind noise and the road noise. It still isn't perfect, but you know, we gotta look at the price point. We got an MSRP of $45,000. It's not a $100,000 SUV. But I'll be honest, I think after driving the Hyundai Santa Fe, I like the Sorento more. I like the interior more. Me personally, and I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I like the exterior of the refreshed Sorento more. Even though I don't love the taillights, I still love the look overall more than the Santa Fe. And it's funny because when I first saw the Santa Fe at the auto shows, I was in love with it. But then when I saw it in person outside with other vehicles around it, I was like, especially the back of it. But visibility is great. For an SX trim, I would like to see some things like head-up display. I would like to see memory seat settings on this thing so that when you let your significant other borrow the vehicle, each person has their certain seat position automatically saved. But the storage is great. The space in the mid row is awesome. And at least you get some USB-Cs in the third row. The one thing I like about the Santa Fe is in the third row, you do get AC controls back there. Something to think about for those backseat passengers. But if they're just peasants to you, and that's where you put your bad kids, the kids you don't love very much, then it's not a big deal. But why don't I shut off this pesky auto stop feature and we're gonna roll out of here. Obviously never a dull moment on Rady's Rides when it comes to vehicles doing interesting things as we drive, but let's go on throttle. Here we go. So the good news is you gotta wait. Well, this isn't the good news. The good news is you do have the oomph to get you out of your own way. The bad news is you gotta wait a little bit for it. The way the transmission behaves and the way that you gotta wait for the boost to build, there is a little bit of delay, even in sport mode, which is surprising when you're going on throttle. And the same stories in the Hyundai Santa Fe. I like this driving position a little bit more. I'm sitting up a little bit higher than in the Santa Fe. I think that was another thing that surprised me. You know, we're all talking about how it looks like a Land Rover Defender. It definitely doesn't sit like a Land Rover Defender. You sit very low in the vehicle, and the vehicle itself, on top of that, sits low on the road. Whereas the Sorento, I have a little bit more height, and I like that. But getting to the infotainment system, just like the Santa Fe, it's got that nice curve to it, easy to get to everything, and the fact that we have simple knobs for the important stuff, your AC controls, the heated and ventilated seats, and then everything else full power up front. All right, guys, the nice thing I like about the dimensions of the Sorento, very easy to drive in traffic or on tighter roads, especially if you don't have much experience behind the wheel of a larger crossover SUV. The blind spot monitoring lights and cameras do great. Like the way that you have an exclamation mark on the mirror that lights up to let you know that somebody's in your blind spot, plus the fact that you got the corner cameras really take care of the blind spots in this vehicle. Going down the road, just very smooth, very comfortable. It's one of those things that until you drive one, you don't know what it's about. You may have driven a Kia Sportage back in 1994 or something, and it was a piece of junk, which you're right, it was. But now these new Kias are much, much different. Much different driving experience, better materials, the technology, the whole shabam. But I hope that this has been a good overall review of the updated 2024 Kia Sorento. We're gonna get back to Loki Kia and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a Sorento second. All right, guys, another day, another car review. Definitely got to thank Robert and the rest of the crew over at Loki Kia for getting us access to one of their very first refresh, updated, changed up 2024 Kia Sorentos X-Line SX. But let me know what you think. Are you gonna go with the new Santa Fe? Are you gonna go with the new Sorento? Or are you gonna spend your money somewhere else? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Of course, we need to give it to the muscle behind the lens. He's actually been in the gym 8 hours a day, 8 days a week, making sure that his biceps, triceps, and forearms are ripped to hold that 25-pound camera mount. Thank you, Steven, for putting in the work and for adding an extra day to your workout week. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.